Hello, beautiful souls, and thanks so much for tuning in again. My name is Luca, I am a star, and welcome to 𝑇aughStar. So today I was guided to do something a little bit different. I was guided to appear in front of the camera. I don't know why, but here I am. So yeah, and also today's reading is going to be something a little bit unique, because what we are going to be doing is basically channeling messages from the three realms of creation. And the three realms, they are the underworld, then there is the human world in the middle where we reside in, and then there is the heaven world. And the intention of this reading is basically helping us understand the energies of the three realms, and also potentially how to connect with spirit on a deeper level. Because if you're aware of shamanism, or if you're aware of ancient stories about the underworld, and when we talk about deities, and in general, yes, this is a roadmap for us to understand creation on a deeper level. Because now, as a general introduction, the world tree, that's the world tree of the three worlds. And then obviously we can also divide it in more worlds, because if we talk about Yggdrasil, which is the world tree of the Norse mythology, then there are 9 realms. But all of the shamanic traditions, or all of the, not just shamanic traditions, but also psychology, like Jungian psychology, they're talking about the world tree, or the cosmic egg, that is divided in these 3 realms. And now how we divide these 3 realms, it is up to us, because it almost depends on which lens we are looking at it. Because in Jungian psychology, it could be seen as past, present, and future, or it could be seen as the unconscious, the conscious, and the superconscious, or it can also be seen as the invisible world, the spirit world, where the serpent spirits reside. Then the middle world, this is also the middle world of the cosmic tree of Yggdrasil in the Norse mythology. Or it can also be the heavenly world, where the birds reside. Like, there are all these stories which are really talking about the cosmic world tree, with the serpents and the birds and the humans in the middle. And again, the intention of this reading is to help us explore this realm, and maybe even help us understand why we would want to travel to other realms. Like, for what reasons? Why do we travel to the underworld? Or why do we even exist here in the human world? Or why do we aspire to ascend to the heavenly worlds? And this is very much what we are going to be exploring today. So there is no pile selection today. So the 3 choices are the 3 realms, the 3 worlds. So pile number 1 is gonna be the underworld. Pile number 2 is gonna be the human world. And pile number 3 is gonna be the heavenly world, or the celestial realms. And if you would like to learn about all the 3 realms, you may obviously listen to all the readings, or you may intuitively feel which of the 3 realms you are most drawn to in this present moment. So you will find the timestamps in the description box, and I'm going to be seeing you in your reading. Hello, pile number 1. So this is your reading if you have chosen the underworld. And again, we're going to be tuning into the energy of the underworld to help us understand this realm, and also help us understand why we would like to travel to the underworld. So the card that we have for you is abundance. Okay, fullness of source and enough for all. This is how it looks like. And it's very interesting, because the first thing that comes through is an abundance of wisdom. Because the underworld is almost, let's say, the place where all the wisdom is stored. Because the underworld is also the energy of everything that happened in the past. So let's say all of our souls remembrances, like all of our soul's history, everything that we have been going on, everything that we have experienced in creation, basically, that is stored in the underworld. Or that is almost, it's an energetic blueprint of all the wisdom. And actually, if I say all the wisdom, it's actually also this reservoir of information before something is actually manifested or actually materialized. Because we have to think of the underworld as everything that is invisible, everything that is not yet created or not yet formed. And it is almost, it is the realm of potential, the realm of potentiality where things are not yet defined. And that's why we say that the underworld is the realm of the serpents. Because when we talk about the serpents, that's actually the energy of a wave. So everything in the underworld exists in a wave form. It exists as this serpent energy, this potential of energy. And that's actually the dormant Kundalini energy, which also comes from the underworld. So it's basically this primal energy, this primordial energy, which creates everything in the cosmos, but it is not yet defined. It is not yet formed, because it almost, it exists as this wave form, this wave of potential, this serpent, basically. That's why we say that the serpents come from the underground, and the stories of serpent beings living in the underworld, like this is actually an analogy for these waves of potential. And the reason why abundance is coming through is that all the abundance, let's say if I hear abundance, I feel the energy of flowers, everything that is in form, everything that is also experienced, like all the abundance, let's say, it almost comes from the underworld, and it is only truly being bloomed into creation in the present moment. And that would be then the bloom, the flower, basically. But the information of the flower, so the shape, the color, the geometry, the design, the blueprint, the DNA which is, by the way, also connected with the symbology of a serpent, that comes from the underworld. Because when a flower blooms, we look at it and it's beautiful. There are colors, there are shapes, and they have a scent, and they look really beautiful. But where does it come from? Like who decides that this flower has this color and this shape? Like all this information, all this coding, all this blueprint comes from the underworld, and it comes from the invisible spirit world. And from there, it is being emanated into the human world, or into the human world being not only the human world where we as humans live, but it is the physical world. So the world where everything is crystallized. And again, this is not only here on Earth, but it is basically everything that we can see with our eyes open. So even if we're talking about other planets, or other planets in 3D, or other planets that we're able to perceive from this perspective, this is also part of the human world. But then when we talk about higher dimensions, higher planets, or places that are beyond what we are capable of perceiving, but are also manifested, are also in form, that's then the heavenly world. That's then the higher dimensions, where we talk about all the planets that resonate with energies of the like 5D, 6D, 7D, 8D, or everything above, everything that is materialized but has form, that's then the higher realms. But right now, as human beings, we are actually in a very favorable position, because in the center, in the human world, we have the perspective of basically all three realms. Because it doesn't matter what we have been going through in the past. It doesn't matter everything that went on before us. And it doesn't really matter what is beyond us, because in the end, everything is in the present moment. So all the information, all the potential of creation, but also everything that is gonna be created, is still contained within this present moment, is still contained in the center basically. And this is the ultimate abundance, like when we understand that in this present moment we have the power to tune into all these three realms of creation, and actually that everything is contained in this present moment. And this is very interesting because it says abundance, but I'm trying to find out how this is related to the underworld. But it is almost telling us, yeah, it says fullness of source. So even if, this is a general message coming through, even if we talk about maybe traveling to the underworld to heal past life trauma, or trying to ascend to a higher dimension in order to evolve, it is still the present moment, or we are still at the center, or we are still, source is complete in itself. So yeah, the message coming through here is we want to explore the different realms, but we almost want to understand that everything is contained within itself. And we don't necessarily need to look too deep into the underworld to heal trauma, or we don't want to force ourselves to ascend too much, because everything is already here. And that is the biggest blessing, like the biggest abundance, like knowing that we are the whole universe basically, and we are really the center of the universe. And this is really the center of the cosmic tree, the center of the source tree basically. Like we as magicians, as human beings, we are the eye, and that's the tree trunk, that's the stem basically. We are literally the center of the universe, the axis mundi, the jet pillar, the pillar that connects the three worlds. But again, it doesn't matter if we tune into the underworld or if we go up. It doesn't matter if we look at the roots of the source tree or if we look at the branches of the source tree. It all comes from the tree trunk. It all comes from the eye. And this eye is the eye of consciousness. The eye in the sense of I am, but also the eye in the sense of the eye of consciousness, the eye that perceives, the eye that sees. And here it really says, yeah, fullness of source, that understanding that we are the whole tree. The whole cosmic tree is ourselves. Like if we would look at our metaphysical anatomy, then we would, like if we would be able to perceive our energy, not just this physical body, but our soul energy and all of our subtle bodies and all of that, it would literally look like a tree, and us being like the stem in the middle. And the biggest paradox with that is that if we look at the very end of the branches, the leaves basically, the fruit, that's also the eye. So the eye is the tree trunk, but it is also everything at the end of the branches, but it is also at the beginning of the roots. So it's really talking about multidimensionality. And the reason why abundance is coming through, it's almost reminding us of the abundance of who we are. But if I talk about abundance, it's about how vast we are, how expansive we are, and how far our roots grow and how far our branches extend into infinity basically. Like we are an infinitely growing cosmic tree. Very beautiful energy. But yeah, let's see how this specific energy is related to the underworld. So we have the Three of Cups, then we have the World, beautiful. We have the Queen of Coins, Queen of Pentacles. Then we have the Ten of Wands. We have the Moon. Okay, it doesn't shock me. When I got the download to do this reading, I was like, if if this card doesn't show up, then I'm not able to channel. So yeah, definitely, especially in this position, like it makes a lot of sense that it shows up. So the Princess of Cups, okay. The Queen of Swords, okay, very interesting. We have a lot of court cards. And the Three of Cups again. Okay. Okay, so with the Three of Cups coming up twice, I'm really being taken to the energy of our ancestors. And this is where like the energy of the underworld comes in. So basically, all of our past experiences, again, all of our soul's history, like everything that we have acquired in past lifetimes, every experience we have had, every bit of knowledge and information that we have gathered throughout our soul's experience is stored in the underworld, because it almost exists there again as a potential, which however is not really created, it's not really solidified, it's not yet formed, or it has been formed, but it is not the present moment, because again, all there is the present moment. And the past is basically like a memory, and the future is basically like the imagination of what is to come based on our memory or based on the present moment. But again, that's why at the beginning I was more so being taken to the present moment. This is helping us understand that even our past and all of our memories, they don't really exist as such. And oh my god, this is so hard to explain, because yeah, all that is the I. All that is presence, is beingness. But obviously we have memories. We have these remembrances from other lives, from past lifetimes. So everything that has to do with our ancestral karma, everything that has to do with our lineage, our soul lineage, like everything that is from the past basically, it is stored with this serpent energy. And this could be the DNA. So there is something about this information being encoded in this helix, in this DNA, but it is actually not present. This is so hard because it seems like it's an illusion, but it's more so like a coding. It's the coding, like a code, a information, a blueprint again, but it almost needs to be lived out through us in the present moment. So again, I'm being taken back to this analogy of the leaves of the tree. So all the leaves of the cosmic tree, all the fruits at the end of the branches, they're all like eyes. They're all like eyes of consciousness. They're all like stars basically. We have to think the whole cosmos of stars, like all the stars, they are the fruits of the tree. They are the fruits in the sense of the eyes of consciousness, the eyes that are able to see. But still they're all connected to the tree trunk, which is the one eye, the eye of source. But essentially, at the end of the tree, like all the stars, all the fruits at the end of the tree, essentially they come from the one eye. They all come from presence. They all come from source. And that's why our past lifetimes or our ancestral karma is basically like our root, but this is like the nourishment also, almost, or like the information from the earth, the information from the underworld, the coding from the underworld that allows us to be in the present moment. So we are almost let's say that our past lifetimes, they almost provide us with the nourishment that we need in order to grow. Because this could be wisdom that we might have gathered, this could be information, or also trauma, also negative imprints. But they basically help us to apply ourselves in the present moment. Because again, there is nothing else than presence. And even if we think about the fruits of the tree, they're still all this one being. They're still the tree trunk. So yeah, it's again something about the paradox coming through, the divine paradox, in the sense where we might think we have past lifetimes, but they actually all exist in a parallel dimension or in a parallel universe. Because again, all these other lifetimes, all the fruits at the end of the tree, they're also in the present moment. So all of our past lifetimes, they actually exist in the now. They actually, all is presence, all is beingness, all is consciousness, all is the I. And since we perceive that there is past, this past energy is actually that which allows the tree to grow. And that's basically the wisdom that moves us forward. Like, it almost gives us the toolbox, the survival guide that we need in order to keep on growing, for this infinite expansion to take place. And that's a very interesting energy, because I never looked at it this way. And yeah, this is basically, again, with the world card, the earth, or Mother Gaia, the earth realm, is actually the spirit realm. Because if we think of Pachamama, the word Pacha, that's actually the word for the world, the word for world. And Pacha is also a word for spirit. So it's not Mother Earth, but it's more so Mother Spirit. But it's the world, because basically there is Uku Pacha, which is the underworld. In the Incan tradition in South America, they say Uku Pacha. Then there is other, I don't know exactly the name about the other Pachas, but the three worlds are the three Pachas. And again, Pachamama is not just the earth, the crystalline earth, the physical earth, the human world, but it's also the underworld, and it's also the branches of the cosmic tree, where we talk about the other dimensions. So all these Pachas, the Pachamama, the cosmic mother, is literally everything that is in creation. But the mother is also that which is beyond creation, where we tune into the energy of the great void, where it's basically like this soup of pre-creation, this not yet created matter, but it's the potential of everything. It's again this wave of potential, this wave of this serpent energy that is, however, not yet formed into crystallization. It's not yet formed into the other worlds. So there is very much this divine feminine energy coming through to help us understand creation, because actually the whole world tree, the whole cosmic tree, that's the energy of Hathor. Because Hathor is also known under the name of she who is the lady of the sycamore tree. Or we also talk about the goddess Danu of the Celtic tradition. This is also connected with the oak tree. Or Freya with Yggdrasil, and like there are all these ancient stories about the tree, and the divine feminine, Hathor, is basically the whole mother tree. But Hathor is not only, again, it's not only the earth, it's not only the Queen of Pentacles, it's not only the earth that is visible and physical, but it's actually the spirit realm where all the information comes from. Because the earth is not just the flower as it looks like, but the earth is also the spirit mother that designs the flower, that gives us the information and the energy that we need in order to allow this flower to grow. So there is really something about, the different aspects of the divine feminine energy, and knowing that everything that is in creation is actually divine feminine. Because again, we have talked about the world tree being Hathor, being the cosmic mother, being the great mother. So everything that is in creation, doesn't matter if it's the underworld or the higher realms or this dimension, like all the dimensions, everything that is perceivable, everything that we can experience, that's the divine feminine energy. But again, this divine feminine energy can come through in many different things. Like the divine feminine is not just matter, it's not just physical, but it's also the spiritual, which is not yet matter, which is not yet defined. And it's almost making us understand that the divine masculine energy, that's literally just the seed. That's almost, that is basically the eye at the center of the tree. But this is only that which allows the tree to have stability, to have the connection. The eye, the masculine energy, is basically like the pole the core of the atom, and everything that revolves around, the whole tree, the branches, the underworld, everything that is experienced, the whole environment, that's divine feminine energy. So that's why what we might understand as God, or what we might define as cosmic intelligence, or as everything that is wisdom, everything that can be experienced, literally all experience and all wisdom, that's the divine feminine energy. And that's why it's so important to connect with this energy, because the Princess of Cups is exactly talking about that, reconnecting with cosmic wisdom and understanding our mother, basically. So I almost feel a hidden intention of this reading was helping us understand the different aspects of the Divine Mother, the different emanations of this divine feminine energy. Very beautiful. And now I'm feeling called to pull some oracle cards to see what else we have. We are channeling information from the underworld. What messages do we have? Okay. Shadow dissolving, gaze of truth. Okay. Oh wow, this is such a lovely energy, like, okay. Okay, this one and this one as well. Okay, so we have the Lemurian shaman, then we have earth and air, then we have integration, and this is interesting because we also have the turtle again, so there's definitely something also about the turtle, about the moon calendar. Then we have the well of dreams, and we have the crown. So, a lot of messages coming through. I try to ground them in the best possible way. But with the Lemurian shaman, this is saying shadow dissolving in gaze of truth. So going beyond fear and also initiation. So this is very much what I've been talking about, wisdom. So the initiation into this cosmic wisdom is actually the awakening of our Kundalini. Because here at the very center we see there is this dark energy. I almost feel the energy of the dark mother, and also the Kundalini activation. So it's almost what a Kundalini activation is almost diving into the underworld, which is like the subconscious or the unconscious. So basically every time we close our eyes in meditation or while dreaming or in sleep, we basically tune into, the underworld. Or another message also coming through, that every time we are in deep sleep, it is almost like we are connecting to the very beginning of creation. So every night when we go to sleep, we literally travel to the chaos ocean. We literally travel to not only the underworld, where we talk about the serpent realm, but literally like the great void. And that's connected with this phase of deep sleep. Because when we sleep, we also go through different phases. And okay, now the message is coming through. The way we tune in with the different realms, it's almost by tuning into a radio frequency. It's almost by switching our dial, and our brain waves, how our brain waves are vibrating, this is what defines where we are traveling to. So when we are in a deep sleep state, then I believe our brain waves are on theta, I guess, or I'm not quite sure about the brain waves, but yeah. So when we are vibrating with these theta waves, then we basically almost move into the great void beyond creation. So it's almost this analogy of every night we sleep, it's almost like a death and rebirth, where we almost go back before creation in order to replenish ourselves. And this is the energy of the well of dreams, where almost our soul rests so that we can come back replenished. So it's almost we take a break from creation, we take a break from the universe of creation and go back to pre-creation. And again, this happens with our brain waves. And then, if we want to connect with the spirit world, which is the realm of the serpents, where we connect with our ancestors, where we channel wisdom, where we channel this information, then we can tune into, let's say, a beta state, or I'm not quite sure about which state exactly. I believe that when we are consciously awake, in a waking state, then we are in an alpha state. Or is that when we are focused? When we are very focused at something that is physical, then it's the alpha state. But as soon as we meditate, or as soon as we go into this hypnagogic state, we almost go a layer deeper and we tune into the energy of, again, the underworld or the subconscious. There can be many layers, so it's either the subconscious, the unconscious, the collective unconscious, the great void, beyond the great void. Like it depends on our brain frequency, the wave pattern of our brain that allows us to tune into these realms. So if we follow the moon calendar, there would be 13 months with 28 days each. And this is very much the ancient calendar. This is very much the calendar that the ancient Egyptians have been using. Also the Polynesians, the Native Americans, like all the ancient cultures, they all have been using this moon calendar. And it's connected with the turtle, it's connected with this, the well of dreams energy, the energy of the underworld. But it's almost by following this natural calendar, by observing the phases of the moon and the changes of the cosmos, basically, we can understand how to tune into the spirit world. So the message coming through with this one is, in order to integrate that wisdom, in order to understand basically everything that I've been sharing, everything about how to tune into other dimensions, how to expand in consciousness, the way we integrate this information is by following the natural cycles of creation. By following, it says, letting go of defenses, open the door. So almost also with open the door is when we follow the transits or the moon, like when we follow astrology basically, then we also know when, for example, the veil is thinner. Then we know when there are good days to channel or when there are good days for manifestation rituals. And this was actually the use, like the reason why we used the moon calendar. It was helping us to tune into the cosmic energies and almost allowing ourselves to channel this wisdom from the other realms. So if we harmonize our day-to-day life with this moon calendar or with this cosmic calendar or with this divine feminine energy, then it's almost we are attuned with the spiral of creation. Because right now we are following a calendar which is very much artificial, because it's this 9-to-5 job or it's this 7 days a week where there is Sunday off. Like it's almost, the calendar is programming society basically. And if we're able to follow this moon calendar that is attuned with the natural cycles of nature, then we can know how to best work together with the Great Mother. And this in turn helps us manifest abundance basically. But abundance, it's not just about material abundance, it's not just about, let's say, it's about happiness, it's about experiencing the abundance of creation, but all the realms. And funnily enough, the way through that is, connecting with the spiral, connecting with following these systems that allow us to be attuned to the natural cycles of nature. And that's why the moon calendar is significant. And that's why the turtle is coming up so strongly. And also with earth and air, again, there is something about DNA, but I'm being told to look at the next pile, because there is something also about the higher realms coming through, because again, it's this serpent energy, it's the DNA from the underworld, the information from the underworld. This is the I, that is in the middle, basically, the tree trunk, the human world. And then there is also the bird, which is then the heaven world. So there is definitely something about almost the connection from our DNA into then us being birds, where we are flying, basically, where it's the spiritual awakening. But yeah, I'm being told that this is information for the next pile, because we also have crown. So I'm almost being told, yeah, it's a continuation. We will talk about the crown of the source tree, of the cosmic tree, in the next piles. So if you feel called to look at the other piles, this is going to be a continuation. And if you feel that this was your message for today, then thank you so much for tuning in. And I'm also offering personal readings. So if you would like to have a personal reading, you find all the information in the description box below. And I'm wishing you all of my blessings, wishing you all of my love, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Hello, beautiful souls. So this is your reading if you have chosen pile number 2 with the human world. And this is very beautiful because I have already looked at the card for your pile, and it says Vision of Unity. And that's a very, very beautiful energy, because that's exactly what the human world is. And when I talk about the human world, this is the middle world, or also Midgard in the Norse mythology. Like, this is the place where human beings live. But it's not just human beings, but it's actually all the beings. Yeah, it's basically the waking state from our perspective, because also beings like star beings on other planets, in other dimensions, they would technically also be in the human world, because the human world, or like the middle world, is basically our perspective from the present moment, in wherever we are in the moment. So it's the waking state. It's almost, I have been talking about the brain waves. So when there is the alpha state, I don't know if it's alpha or whichever brainwave it is. So the middle world is the state where we are consciously aware in the present moment right now, as I speak to you and as you listen to the reading. But at the same time, the card also says Vision of Unity. So even if right now you're listening to this reading and I'm reading for you, there are these other realms of creation which basically coexist with us in this present moment. And this is then where the underworld comes in, but also the branches of the cosmic tree. So again, the middle world is basically the tree trunk. It is the eye. It is the bridge between the three realms. And with Vision of Unity, I'm really strongly being taken to the energy of Horus. So Horus that's us basically. That's basically the center between the two realms, because Horus has wings, and wings are a symbol of being able to travel to the higher realms, or to other dimensions, or to, it's almost like maybe even seeing future timelines, projecting in the future. Like, it's really having the wings of freedom in the sense of being able to tune into these other realms. But at the same time, Horus is incarnated on Earth, and that's basically us, because Horus resonates with the energy of Christ, but also resonates with the energy of the star. So we are stars, we are Christ, we are Horus in the middle between the underworld and the higher realms. But the middle is the human world, where at the same time we have access to all the other realms. And that's why it says Vision of Unity. So Horus is the unifier of the two realms. Horus is the bridge between the realms, and that's the energy of a magician or of a shaman, but we are that. We all have the ability to tune into the other realms. We all have the ability to create magic, because the magician is the tree trunk, the magician is the eye. And there are many stories of ancient cultures where, for example, Odin, god of the Norse mythology, is almost entering the cosmic tree in order to gain wisdom, in order to gain knowledge. So it's almost this energy of leaving heaven, leaving the higher dimensions, and entering the tree, entering creation in order to gather wisdom. And there is also the story where Odin has been hanging himself on a tree for 9 days in order to be inspired with the wisdom of the runes. So it's basically Odin which has been giving the wisdom of the runes to the people in the middle world, so that the people in the middle world could connect with the other realms of creation. So there is really something about understanding that yes, we are the tree trunk in the present moment, but it's not only that. But at the same time, everything is contained within itself. So all of our past experiences and all of the future timelines, they are existing right now. So it's almost about understanding, again, this divine paradox, and it keeps on coming up in all of my readings. And it's always so hard to find the words for this divine paradox, but yes, it is helping us understand that almost we are the pebble, and essentially a pebble comes from the mountain. But a pebble is not the same thing as the mountain. So the mountain being source, being the one eye, the one cosmic eye. And that one eye then produces this little pebble, which essentially is the whole mountain, but it's obviously not the same perspective. So what all the wisdom helps us do basically is helping the pebble relate back to the mountain, where the pebble understands actually essentially at my core, I am the mountain. Obviously us as individual souls, we are not source, we are not God, but at our core we are. So there is something about, yes, almost following the breadcrumbs, following our path back home through wisdom. And that's why we as human beings have the vision of unity. Because we have to have almost both perspectives in order to move somewhere. Like there needs to be this perceived illusion of past, present and future, this perceived illusion of there being 3 realms in order for us to have any experience. Because otherwise everything would be contained within itself. Otherwise the mountain would be the mountain and there is all there is to know. But as soon as the mountain splits into all these different pebbles, it's almost the pebbles finding their way back to the mountain. And that's why there is this perceived separation, or that's why there is this divine paradox in the sense that essentially we are all one, but there is this perceived illusion of multiplicity, which helps us find our way back to one. But what happens in the process is the gaining of knowledge, the gaining of wisdom that we might not have had if everything was one from the beginning. If the mountain would always be the mountain and if it would have never been exploded into countless pebbles, then the pebbles could not have gained the experience of what it means to be in separation or in perceived multiplicity. And this is really what the vision of unity is trying to tell us. And it says focus on the light, but also right to see, releasing illusion and pineal activation. And that's exactly what it is. So basically, in order to understand that we are the whole tree, in order to understand that we are source basically, there needs to be this not just pineal activation, but the first step is like the awakening of the inner eye, because it says releasing illusions. So seeing things for what they are, almost looking behind the veil of illusion, still being on earth as a human, but always having also in mind the other realms. And then activating the pineal gland, where we are receptive for this higher consciousness, because again, it's there all the time. Like this awareness that we have on a soul level, and all of our past lifetimes and all of our future lifetimes, like all this information is all the time here, because again there is nothing else than this present moment. But all the other aspects of who we are, our past lifetimes and our future lifetimes and all that is, still exist in this present moment. But why is it not here right now? Because we're just not tapping into it right now. So this is very much, again, this analogy of the mountain. Because the mountain, where everything is unified, obviously the mountain is much bigger and much higher and is able to see beyond the horizon. But from the perspective of the pebble, they can only see what they're able to perceive in their surroundings. So it's almost the pebble opening up the pineal gland so that the pebble can be receptive for the perspective of the mountain. And this is who we are essentially. Like the pebble is able to see creation from the perspective of the mountain. And all we have to do to be able to do that is simply by tuning into our heart. Because the pebble, essentially the heart of the pebble is the heart of the mountain. So the pebble doesn't need to go back to source in order to be able to see the perspective from the mountaintop. And that's why, yes, we are this pebble, but we are also able to see things from the perspective of source, from the perspective of the mountain. And this is this vision of unity, where in order to be able to have this higher perspective and to see things from this higher viewpoint, it is about being receptive for that viewpoint, opening our inner eye, activating our pineal gland, opening our heart, and almost allowing this eye, this ray of light to flow through us, because that's who we are. But obviously, if our heart is closed, and if we keep on looking at illusions, then we're almost like a little pebble, where what am I here to do? I'm just a little pebble, I don't know. But when we open our heart and our crown is open and everything is open, then this higher perspective can flow through. And this is the vision of unity, where we understand that I am. And that's Horus, that's Christ, that's the I am presence. I am the I. There is only one I. The I of consciousness is the I of source. And it is not my consciousness and your consciousness and someone else's consciousness. It is consciousness. And when we understand that this I, this consciousness, the I that sees, the all-seeing I is our perception, our I, then we can open ourselves up for everything. And this is where we get then wings. And this is this higher perspective of Horus. Because Horus is the falcon, which is connected to divine will, but it's also this energy of also the ego, like having this overview of basically awakened consciousness, where we understand the oneness of everything, vision of unity, pineal activation. So definitely some of you might be going through crown chakra openings or also literal pineal activations, but it's more the third eye, so seeing things for what they are. But yeah, let's see what the cards have to say. I love this. I could talk for hours and hours and hours, and there are so many messages coming through, and sometimes it's hard to ground this information because it's just like boom, 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 boom. But I'm making my best to bring the messages through. And yeah, let's see what we have. We have the Three of Wands. Then we have, oh, look at this, the Fountain card. This is exactly what I've been mentioning with the eye, the source energy flowing through us. Then we have the Seven of Wands. Then we have the Eight of Coins. We have the Two of Scepters. A lot of wands energy, a lot of... Okay, now I get it. Oh, okay, look at this, the Tower. Wow, okay. Oh my goodness, so many messages, makes me excited. The Lovers. Okay. Yes, it's already coming through. And the Fool, oh my goodness, this is so perfect. Wow, okay. So, the message coming through is Source, or our spirit guides, helping us understand why we have chosen this experience in the human world. Because we have the Fountain card, which to me always represents the I, the eye of consciousness, source energy, source light flowing through us. But then we also have the tower. And that is very interesting, because as I look at this is the one eye, the all-seeing eye, and this is also the all-seeing eye. But this is almost the all-seeing eye of illusion, because with this I'm really being taken to the matrix and secret societies and all of that, like this illusion basically, wanting to make us believe that the all-seeing eye is something else, or it's this distortion, the distortion about this energy. And what I'm being told with this is that on a soul level, we have chosen to have this experience of forgetfulness, because in the human world, in the middle world where we are at, from our perspective, we have chosen to forget that we are the mountain. We have chosen to forget that we are the entirety of the cosmos. And so we almost come here to experience it from a completely different perspective, where we almost build our life, where we almost build this tower. And a tower always talks about our belief systems. So it's almost part of being here is actually first succumbing to the illusion, is first building this tower, and the tower is something that is man-made. So we are almost here to build something based on illusions, build something based on untruth. But then there is the tower moment happening, where all of this untruth is then falling apart, and we are reconnecting with the actual truth about what the one eye is about. Because with this I'm really being taken to like conspiracy theories and secret societies and all these untruths and all these half-truths. So it's almost we have been building up our belief system, maybe at the earlier part of our life, on complete illusions where we were completely disconnected with spirit, but then also in our spiritual path, once we then start to research about secret societies and all of that, even going beyond that, because a lot of these things, they also are half-truths. So it's not just opening up to spirit, but like literally opening up to that energy to flow through us. So it's literal awakening of consciousness, where we see beyond all illusions, not just the illusions that we choose to see. Because very often we're like, oh, okay, we research something about a conspiracy theory, thinking that this is the ultimate truth, and we have found the ultimate truth, but we don't go a step further. Because going a step further would mean that everything that we believe to be true is doomed to fall apart. So in order for this tower moment to happen, where all illusions fall away, we literally have to surrender everything that we believe to be true. And this is actually what we are here to experience in the human world, like essentially on a bigger scale, if you have to find a common reason why we're here. It's actually first building up that tower based on untruth, and then allowing the tower to fall away. But so many people are afraid of this tower moment, because when everything we believe to be true, that's our foundation. And when that suddenly falls away, then we're like, okay, but what is my truth then? If I'm not a pebble, then what am I else? If I'm not a pebble, but I have not yet experienced this source energy, what am I then? I'm nothing. And then this is where the dark night of the soul comes in, where this tower moment happens and all our illusions are shattered, but the new consciousness is not yet grounded. And this is something that we're very brave for doing, because first of all, we come in with this forgetfulness, forgetting that we are the mountain. Then we have to build up a house with other pebbles, but then realize that this is all an illusion, and then allowing that to fall away, and then finding our way back to the mountain again. So it's like an intense process. And again, there are other planets where this is easier, because there are also planets in the human world or in physical planets or 5D planets where there is not this forgetfulness. Like there are planets where we experience almost, we have to think of a planet that is very similar to maybe Harry Potter, where it's like a fifth dimensional planet or above. So it's almost like human beings interacting with each other, but the consciousness is way higher, where then people can create magic, where people remember that they are source, they remember maybe their soul's history, they remember a lot. But in this human world, from our perspective right now, it is this forgetfulness, and it is being almost trapped in these cycles of time, or almost trapped in this cycle of reincarnation. And as soon as we realize that we are in this cycle, as soon as we see the tower for what it is, as soon as we reconnect back with our origins, this is what allows us to transcend the cycle of time and to allow this tower moment to happen, so that this source energy can flow through. And it is almost about, that's why the Lovers is coming through, and I was super excited. I was like, yes, this makes so much sense, because this is the vision of unity. Again, this is a confirmation of what I've been sharing before. So the Lovers is exactly that. The Lovers is about integrating our human ego self with our higher self, with our soul. This higher soul perspective, this higher bird perspective, but also the lower ego human perspective. And we have to have both, because if we were only in the higher perspective, then we would not know the ego perspective, we would not know darkness, we would not know illusion. But now that we have had the experience of the illusion, but we also have this higher perspective on a soul level, and now that we're able to bring these two together, this is the ultimate mastery, the ultimate empowerment. Like, we as human beings, we are so strong. We're sometimes even stronger than some star beings who have never been in 3D. Because these star beings, they maybe only have the experience of the higher realms, where they know who they are. But we come here on Earth and we forget who we are, and we're brave enough to find our way back to source. Like, that's badass. We are so strong for that, and we have to give ourselves credit for how brave that is, for how strong we are to do something like that, because this is not easy. Again, forgetting who we are and finding our way back and purging all this darkness, experiencing all this illusion, then shattering them all and reuniting back with our soul, like, this is ultimate empowerment. And that's why many enlightened masters and many high vibrational souls, they have chosen to come here on Earth, because this is like a a super, a high-end school, high-end cosmic school that is not for the faint-hearted. Because again, the lessons that we're going to learn here on Earth in this human realm, they are unlike anything in the universe, because this is like one of the hardest levels. That's what I want to say. And nonetheless, being able to unify both aspects, to find love within our heart, to, from the perspective of a pebble, understand that we are the mountain by tuning into our heart. That's like, mic drop. That's like, so we really want to give ourselves a pat on the back and to be proud of what we're doing here, because this is amazing. We are amazing for choosing such a challenging experience, but the more challenges there are, the more we actually grow. And this is where the magic comes in. Beautiful, beautiful energy. And what else do we have? Before I continue, I feel called to pull some oracle cards, so we see what this is about. We're channeling messages from the human world, okay, beautiful. Oh wow. I don't know why this came up, but it's kind of funny, so I'm gonna share it. Some of you might be asking whether the Earth is a reality show of star beings or of cosmic beings or of extraterrestrials. And it is kind of true. Not in a way that we understand it, that they make fun of us while we are here suffering and allowing these towers to fall. No, not in that sense. But these higher dimensional aspects of ourselves, which are, by the way, not separate from us. So our seventh dimensional self is looking at us right now from a higher perspective while we are here. So they're not really separate from us, but they are these other versions of ourselves who look at us from this higher perspective. And in that sense, yeah, it's kind of a reality show, like they observe how we handle this, but they almost learn by it. Because we are the ground crew. We are here in the midst of it. We are experiencing as our own experience. But there are these other aspects, these higher aspects, who look at this life from this elevated perspective. And they learn then their own version of this story based on their level of consciousness. So it's almost a win-win situation for all the parties involved. And that's why we as human beings, we have so many spirit guides. We have so much help, and right now there are all these cosmic beings that are helping us with this awakening of consciousness, with this expansion of who we are, because, yeah, again, our healing is dependent, their healing is dependent on our healing, and it's all kind of connected. So even if they're looking at the tree trunk from a perspective of a branch in the higher dimensions, it's still the I. It's still us. So it doesn't matter how far out we go, in how many dimensions, or how many star families, star systems, like they're all still connected to the one, because it's all just one. We are that. I am that I am. I am the I am the I of consciousness, and there is really no separation. And yeah, there is really something about another more lighthearted message coming through is that if we have to look at the perspective that star beings are looking at the earth or the human world as a reality show, what our star beings want to see the most is us enjoying our life, because joy of life is coming through. Like they are the happiest, obviously, when we are the happiest, because we never want to forget that we're actually here to play. We are here to have this, it's almost a role play where it's the mountain acting as a pebble. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm this little pebble, but actually in the back mind always knowing I'm the mountain, and it's almost having this role play of being a pebble and having fun with that. So it's almost a seeing that we are the main character in our own movie, and we want to play with that. Like how do we manifest things? Like how do we use our magical abilities? How do we use our source energy to manifest in this realm? And obviously it's different because it's the third dimension. It's the not just third dimension, it's fifth by now, but yeah, you get what I mean. It's about exploring our creator being in this realm, and this is the fun of it. So we're almost here to again play and to see how to best manifest things into creation, how to best enjoy ourselves, because that's the main intention. It's to have an experience, to learn, to gain wisdom, to, yeah, it's a very light-hearted energy coming through, where all of creation has been created for fun, basically, because say the mountain is the mountain, and the mountain always has this unified perspective where the mountain is everything and knows everything and is all that is. Then it would be boring, because the mountain is alone, knows everything, has everything, and it's like, I don't know, boring. So the mountain decides to explode in an infinite amount of pebbles, and so that there is this perceived illusion, or this illusion of separation, and then the pebbles are playing and finding their way back home, so they have something to do, something to play, to learn, to experience, and then when they're unified back with the mountain, then that's where we all come from. And yes, we have we gained wisdom in the process? We don't really know, so maybe we did, but everything comes from one anyway. So again, it's this paradox of, yes, creation exists for us to gain knowledge, but the knowledge was kind of always there. And that's why we don't want to stress ourselves to maybe heal or to get knowledge or to, yeah, it's more so something very strong coming through is peace. We want to make peace with where we are at. and it doesn't matter if maybe things are not as we want them to be, because maybe it's not about that, it's maybe not even about ourselves, but maybe it's about our higher dimensional selves, our higher selves, our cosmic self that wants to learn something. And we want to detach ourselves a little bit from this only human life, because maybe we might ask ourselves, like, why is there so much pain? Why is there so much darkness? Why am I going through so many challenges? Like, this is unfair, or why is all of this happening? But actually, we never want to forget that it's a game, and we never want to forget that this has been created by Source for fun, basically. And we never want to forget the fun, and it's almost about, yes, again, looking at it from this higher perspective, where we almost tune into our higher self, and this helps us understand why we are here. I'm hearing this song, I think it's Moe's, or I'm not quite sure. Remember why you came here. Remember why we came here. So we're here to, yes, to manifest, to have peace, to have joy, to play with our manifestations, and at the same time staying in our heart, embodying this energy of peace, embodying this energy of almost surrendering, but then obviously also building something, manifesting things, creating things. This is where the play comes in, but then at the same time knowing that we are always where we started, with the full. Even if we build, I don't know, an empire, or even if we learn so much, in the end we merge back with the mountain where we came from. So there is nothing to lose and nothing to gain. So why should we pressure ourselves a whole lifetime in trying to gain something, gain money or fame or wealth or status or wisdom or anything? We're completely forgetting the point of it when we do that, because nothing to gain, nothing to lose. We are always in the present moment. We're always the I anyway. And yeah, I don't know why, but I almost feel the universe is making fun of us. But in a very loving way. Like, they're almost laughing at us, like, why do you worry so much? Or why do you make things so complicated? Like, don't forget to play. Don't forget to be peaceful. Don't forget to have joy in life. Because that's what it is. It's all made for fun. It's all made for pleasure. And our star family is coming through to guide us in this process. And this is where the energy of the branches come through. So the energy of the branches, that's the higher dimensions, and that's then going to be pile 3. So if you have chosen pile 2, that's your message for today. And if you would like to learn more about the branches of the cosmic tree, then you can stay tuned for pile number 3. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I'm also offering personal readings. If you would like to have a personal reading, you find all the information in the description box below. And I'm sending you all of my love, sending you all of my blessings, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Thanks so much for watching. Hello, beautiful souls. So this is your reading if you have chosen pile number 3 with the branches of the cosmic tree, with the heavenly realms, like we're talking about the 3 realms of creation. And I've already looked at the card for this specific pile, and we have the depth of love. And it says, let go of fear, jump into love, and let go beyond attachments. And this is very much, yes, this ascension of human consciousness. This is very much the ascension into, let's say, the higher realms, but it's almost making us understand that this is the realm where we enter into when we let go of, let's say, the physical attachments. Because I'm really being taken to the wheel of samsara, the wheel of reincarnation. So whenever on a soul level, or on a human level, or like our individual soul is, whenever there are attachments to everything that is in the physical realm, because again we're talking about exiting the physical realm, exiting the middle world, exiting the human world, and transcending into the higher realms of heaven, the higher dimensions. Whenever there is still an attachment to anything that is physical, to anything that happened in the human world, we will keep on coming back in the human world. Because as long as there is an attachment to pleasure, as long as there is an attachment to taste chocolate or to, I don't know, have intimacy, physical intimacy, or having money or material wealth or all of that, as long as there is an attachment to that, we will keep on coming back in the physical world. Obviously it changes. There are also exceptions. Maybe if it has to do something with your path, like obviously it's not same for everyone, but the message coming through with this one is when we are able to let go of the attachments to the physical world, to everything that is crystallized, to everything that has form, and to almost merge into the formlessness, to merge into the ocean of consciousness, then we can ascend. Because then there is actually no need for us to be in the wheel, of creation, to be in the wheel of reincarnation, like rebirth. Like obviously we are in the wheel to learn things, to close cycles, to have experiences and all of that. Like it's almost pre-programmed in a way what we are experiencing in that incarnational, in all of our incarnational cycles. But everyone at one point will have the chance to move beyond that. And this is where we let go of all the attachments. And maybe, let's say, we transition out of this physical body, then we ascend into the realms of heaven, into a higher dimension, which lies, it is still in the cosmos of creation, there is still an environment, but it's a higher dimension, so everything is more fluid. Everything is more watery, almost like this depth of ocean where we feel like we are a a dolphin in the ocean, or it's almost not even a dolphin, but almost this living water, liquid light, plasma in a crystalline, like there are still temples and structures, but it's this ethereal energy. It's almost like we are liquid light. That's the energy was coming through. So when we transition out of this physical vessel and we go to the higher realms in this liquid light, we will stay there for some time. But if we still feel like we are attached to something that happened in the human world, let's say if we are up there in the heaven and we think like, I still want to experience true love in a human form, or I still want to experience being successful in the physical realm, or I still would like to go on a party, or something that you have never experienced in the physical realm. As long as there is an attachment or still something that wants to be felt or experienced, this is where we come back. But it is always our own choice. Nobody ever forces us to come back into the human world against our will. Never. It is always our choice, because every belief system that makes us think otherwise is part of the distortion, because there are a lot of false narratives that are talking about souls being trapped, that souls are forced to incarnate, and all of the, obviously there can be some truth in it, but every paradigm that makes us believe that we don't have the power of choice is a distortion, because it is almost wanting to make us believe that we don't have the power to choose what happens, not even in this life, but also what happens after we die. So that's like complete programming, not just programming this human self, but also trying to program what comes after it. And that's where the catch lies, because whatever we believe comes after death in this lifetime is what we're going to experience right after we transition, because there are also two layers to it. We first move into a realm where we experience exactly what we think we are going to experience. So all the idea about heaven, the idea about meeting with our deceased loved ones, maybe going into a realm where angels lie, or maybe even going to hell, if that's what you believe you deserve, I don't know. Everything we think that is going to happen after we transition, that's the space where we enter. Because our consciousness is creating that space. And it's basically helping us to make that bridge because we transition out of the human world and we go into the realms of heaven. And in the realms of heaven, there still needs to be some sort of a reference point that allows us to kind of like relate back to the human world. So we are in almost this limbo, in this in this in-between state, before we then actually move into the real heaven, or the real place where souls are resting before another incarnation. So it's almost, this in-between state is here to almost help us integrate all the experiences in the physical. And again, it can come up with whatever you feel most resonant with you. Like if you believe in angels, you will find angels. If you believe in extraterrestrials, you will meet extraterrestrials. If you, doesn't matter, like whatever you believe happens after you transition, that's one part of the experience. And then we almost move into this ocean of liquid light where it's then the real heaven, let's say. And then when we are there, then we can decide whether to come back into the human world or whether to have other experiences in the higher dimensions. And we can also choose to, like if we still have karma, obviously some of you might be asking, like, what about karma? Like if I don't want to come back, then why should I? But there is still karma to release. So what is the message coming through with this one is that we can also release karma, but we don't necessarily have to be incarnated in order to do that. We can also help help a human being as a spirit guide. And then it's actually that human being almost releasing our karma. Because karma, in order to release karma, obviously we need to be in the wheel of creation. Like we need to be, the reason why we incarnate is basically letting go of karma, or like we have to be in the wheel of creation in order to do so. But we can also release karma again when we stay in the higher realms and support souls from a higher dimensional perspective. But then we are dependent on that soul in the physical to do the healing, because the healing needs to be done inside of the wheel of incarnation. And we always have the choice what comes after, so nobody ever forces us to come back if it's against our will. But then of course, if we still have a lot of heavy karma, let's say, I'm making a very, very extreme example. Let's say I have killed a person in this lifetime, and then I go back to heaven, and then obviously I would want to release that karma. Technically, I would have the choice to go back to source directly, but I would not want to go back to source while still having that feeling in my heart, that pain in my heart. And that's why I choose to reincarnate again to make things right. Now, obviously that's a very extreme example, it doesn't need to be that extreme, but we choose to reincarnate, and that's a very important thing. Like we want to be mindful that it's our own responsibility to be here. And everything that makes us believe that we are a victim, that we didn't choose to be here, or we didn't have a choice, that's not true. Because maybe we have had this karma that we wanted to let go of, and that's why we choose to come here. Or maybe the earth has a lot of karma and we came in to help to release that, or to liberate other souls. Like there are many different reasons why we might choose to incarnate, but everything is always our choice. Then obviously, once we come up to the higher realms, once we go, let's say, to the branches of the cosmic tree, then we meet star beings, we meet angels, we meet spirit guides, and they can obviously suggest certain outcomes. They say like, okay, we have a nice job opportunity for you, Earth is shifting into 5D, do you want to be there? So they're almost making suggestions, because personally I think that was definitely not my first choice to come here. So definitely my guides kind of like asked me if I want to come, or they told me why it is beneficial for my soul to be here. And then I thought like, okay, well, it's going to be quite tough, it's going to be quite challenging, it's going to be quite a journey, but I'm going to do it. Because I'm going to learn something for myself on a soul level, and at the same time I get to help all these beautiful beings and to liberate the whole planet. So it's a win-win situation. Obviously it was a lot of pain, it was a lot of how could I have chosen that? Why so much pain? Why so many challenges? Why? And just a long phase of me not wanting to be here. But as soon as I accepted this responsibility, that I have chosen to come here, then everything started to shift. Because it's about reclaiming our power. Nobody has chosen for us to be here. We have chosen it for ourselves. And it has something to do with empowerment. Because if we are always in this victim mindset where we are like, what have I done to deserve so much pain? Like then we think we're being punished to be here, or what have we done to experience so many struggles? Like it's not about that. It's about, yes, we have chosen quite a tough challenge in this lifetime, but again we're doing it for ourselves, for our own soul's growth. And that's why we want to reclaim that power in the sense that, yeah, it's our choice. Because if we are in this victim mindset, then we are giving our power away. And the only way to ascend to the higher realms is by reclaiming our power, by taking responsibility for our choice to be here in this lifetime and flowing with it almost. And also letting go of attachments. Letting go of attachments in the sense that we won't be here for that long anyway. Like this human life is gonna be gone in the blink of an eye. And we're like, oh wow, finally back to the ocean of love. And then we swim in the ocean of love for quite some time, and then we're up there and we're like, okay, it's kind of boring, let's go have an adventure. And then we choose to incarnate again, and it depends on whatever our soul is looking for. If our soul wants to have like a pleasurable experience, then maybe we go to a 8th-dimensional planet and have ultimate bliss all the time. But some souls, they seek greater expansion and greater challenges, so we choose to come here to Earth. And since you and me are here right now, like, congratulations, we have chosen ultimate empowerment and ultimate awakening for our soul. And this is very powerful. So being incarnated as a human being is so much more powerful than we sometimes give ourselves credit for. We sometimes might think we are victims to be here, or we are doomed to experience all this pain, but no, it is our choice. And it is actually a much more enriching experience than swimming in this ocean of love all the time, because that's where we come from and that's where we're gonna go anyway. So nothing is ever truly lost, and that's why we want to also detach ourselves a little bit from everything that's going on in our life, because we don't want to forget the fun in this life, basically. Very similar message also to pile number 2, but I feel it's somehow a continuation of that. But yeah, let's see what the cards have to say. We have the 10 of Pentacles, beautiful, that's exactly the confirmation of that. So I lay the cards first and then I get in. King of Swords. It's getting quite dark. I hope you can still see me. We have the Tower. And then we have the Queen of Cups. We have the Magician. Yes, love this energy. The Queen of Scepters. A lot of court cards have been coming through, not just in this pile, but in all the piles. The Sun, oh my goodness, look at this. And the Sword, 10 of Swords. Alright, so we're channeling messages from the heavenly realms. But for some reason, I'm really being taken to the physical realm, because it's about experiencing this ultimate fulfillment in the physical realm. Sorry, my camera cut out, but yeah, actually I'm being told to pull some oracle cards before I continue. So we're gonna be channeling messages from the higher realms. Let's see. We have Emergence. Oh my goodness, absolutely beautiful. Okay. We have the Angelic Ones, centering the reading. Wow. And we have Observe. Okay. But yeah, for some reason I keep on being taken back to the physical world. So it's almost, the message coming through is when we have mastered almost the physical realm, because the 10 of Coins, it's about finding ultimate joy, ultimate fulfillment, ultimate pleasure in the physical realm. Like, the message coming through is when we have experienced, when we have reconnected with our spiritual self in the physical world, then we can almost transcend the physical world, because there is almost no need for us to be in the physical world, because it's almost, we have learned what we wanted to learn, we have experienced what we wanted to experience, we have healed what we wanted to heal. And when we make this shift, then there is no reason for us to go back again. So that's why I'm being made to feel right now, since there is this huge collective awakening going on, and this huge remembrance of who we are. So many souls, they won't be coming back to Earth. Not only because it was super challenging this lifetime like crazy, but also because there is literally no reason for us to come here, like unless we want, obviously. If you choose to come here, if you want to experience the awakened Earth after this lifetime, then obviously you can come, but you don't need to come, because it's almost, there is nothing here that your soul has not yet experienced. But obviously it depends, it's different from every person, but the actual message coming through is that once we have found this ultimate fulfillment, not just spiritually but also physically, when we have experienced everything we wanted to experience, learned everything we wanted to learn, and we have this butterfly moment, then we can transcend and move into the higher realms, because then there are no attachments anymore and nothing else to feel or experience. Because karma, what karma actually is almost something that needs to be experienced, or energy that needs to be felt or experienced or transmuted. That's karma. It's basically an imprint of something that needs to be unfolded. It's like a pocket of information stored in our DNA that almost needs to be unraveled and experienced and felt and healed. But when we have done that process, and when we emerge as this butterfly, when we have this butterfly moment where we're letting go of our old self, we're letting go of the caterpillar, and we're transforming into the butterfly, then it's actually, we ascend while we are here on Earth. So when we ascend while we are here on Earth, then after we transition out of this body, we can literally ascend to the higher dimensions and have a lifetime in a different dimension, because again, there is no reason for us to almost be here anymore unless we choose to. But with the magician coming through, this is again the energy of traveling between the realms, and actually knowing that this highest evolved version of ourselves has already ascended. Like, we have already ascended. Like, right now we are obviously in this cycle of time, and we might perceive this life from this human perspective, but once we transition out of this incarnation and we move into a different dimension where time and space doesn't exist, that version of ourselves, that ascended version of ourselves, exists right now. So when we are able in the human realm to tune into that energy and to bring that consciousness here, then after we transition out of this body, we are connecting to that aspect, because we have already embodied it here, because we know that all the branches, all the higher dimensions, they are also already here. And that's where the energy of the magician comes in. When we practice magic, or when a shaman travels to the higher realms, like, what we're doing is literally bringing these soul fragments together and weaving this web of our soul experience, basically. But yeah, it's almost about bringing in this higher perspective while we are still here. And this is how we travel to the higher dimensions. But not just travel while being in meditation here, but literally after we transition out of this lifetime, having the choice to move somewhere else. And again, we are not trapped here. Like, anyone that makes you believe that you're here in an incarnational cycle, trapped, I don't know, whatever distortion stories are out there, that's not the truth, because we always have the choice to choose. And it's actually, funnily enough, connected with solar plexus energy. So the emergence card, that's like solar plexus and sacral energy, and that's very much this divine sovereignty. So actually one of the biggest things in the human world has to do with empowerment, the ultimate empowerment. And the ultimate empowerment comes with the activation of our consciousness, like, because the Queen of Scepters, she is wearing the golden crown, and that's the golden crown of sovereignty. And if you see, the figure even holds the pineal, the pine cone, as her scepter. So this is pineal activation. If you come from pile number 2, they're very much connected. So when the pine awakens, like when there is this ultimate awakening of consciousness, when we ascend while being here on earth, that's our ticket to anywhere we want to go. That's what I want to say. And yeah, if there is still karma or something we need to experience, then we will be back. But again, it's always our choice. So what I wanted to say is, when we find this empowerment in the human realm, while we are here in this present moment, then we have done what we needed to do. Because the ultimate empowerment, again, is the awakening of human consciousness. It's remembering that we are source. It's remembering that we come from the branches, and the branches are not separated from the stem. Right now, in this present moment, as I talk to you, I am the magician, I am the eye, I am the center of the universe, and so are you. Every star, every eye of consciousness is the center of the universe to itself. But again, there are all these different layers. And the more we tune into the other layers while being here, the more we open ourselves up to travel there right now, but also after. It's so hard to find the words for higher dimensions, because time and space doesn't exist in higher dimensions. But yeah, it's something about bringing in these aspects while being here within time. So it's almost about, to make it simple in a phrase, to bring in infinite expansion and timelessness into the limitations of time and the wheel of time. So having this experience of the eternal expansion of the universe while being in this limiting body, this small body, this flesh suit. But at the same time understanding that we are not just that, we are all these other aspects, and this is pineal activation, where we are receptive to all these other aspects of who we are. And again, once we embody it here, then we can go, then we are free, then we are allowed to be an angel again, because that's what we are anyway, that's where we come from. Like, we all are spirit beings having this human incarnation or this human experience for a brief period of time. But centering the reading, we have the angelic ones. So what's coming through with this is that we all are angels, we all are light beings, we all are star beings, we all come from the higher dimensions. Like, this is our essence, this is who we actually are. And even more essentially, we are source. So all the light beings, all the humans, all beings, all eyes of consciousness, all soul fragments, they are these fractalizations of Source Creator. And everything that is in creation is about finding our way back to that oneness. But yeah, it says divine healing is upon you, divine grace and divine guidance. So the other message coming through with this is also, we can rely on the help of our spirit guides from the higher dimensions all the time. And this also has to do with our empowerment, because the ultimate empowerment is actually understanding that these angelic beings, they are aspects of ourselves. They are our own versions, our evolved versions, looking at us from the future or from a realm where time and space doesn't exist. But that means they are already there. We are already there. And we are basically looking at us in this limited human perspective. But the ultimate empowerment, again, is about awakening to our multidimensionality, understanding that we are a multidimensional soul. And then funnily enough, if you come from pile number 2, there is the Tower coming up again. So again, it's really a confirmation of letting go of all the limitations. Obviously operating with these limitations, because me as a human being, I cannot jump from the window and then pretend I'm going to be flying. It's not like that. Like, there are still physical rules we need to abide. Like, we cannot do everything. Like, we're here to experience actually limitation in some way. That's essentially what it means also to be in the human world, to experience some sort of limitation or thought patterns in a certain framework. Like, in a higher dimension, I would be able to move my hand through this. But in this dimension, there is the conditioned thought pattern that this is physical, because this helps us navigate this realm. So on one side, embracing the limitations, but not being limited by these limitations when it comes to our spiritual expansion. Because again, it's about letting go of the attachments. So it's almost navigating this realm while having one eye in the physical and one eye in the spiritual, and always being that bridge. And this is what the magician is. So we are wanting to, yes, still take care of our physical needs, still be grounded, still be here, maybe do everything that's physical, like creating, making money, and we need food to eat. Like, there are physical needs we need to take care of, but at the same time always having one eye, let's say one in the back of the mind, this openness to the other dimensions. And this is where the angelic ones come in. So if we want to find ultimate empowerment in this physical world, we cannot only focus on the physical world, because that's extremely limiting. And if we only focus on the physical world, then there is going to be this tower moment happening where everything falls apart, and where we will be redirected to spirit. But also at the same time, if we are too ungrounded, if we are too much in the higher realms, then we cannot really apply ourselves here. And then we will have difficulties making money, or like interacting with other people, or everything that has to do with being grounded. So in order to be strong, a strong individual, we have to have both sides, and we have to master also both the divine feminine and the divine masculine energies, knowing when to take action, but also knowing when it's time to listen to the guidance of our higher dimensional selves, because this is ultimate empowerment. It's both sides, the physical and the spiritual, the masculine and the feminine, and the marriage in the middle. That's who we are. Like, if we embody the energy of a magician, we know that we have all of it. We have the divine feminine, the divine masculine. We can go into the underworld, we can go into the higher realms all the time. It happens from the eye of consciousness, from the awakened pillar of light, the jet pillar, the axis mundi, where we literally understand that we are the center of the universe. And that's true. Every eye of consciousness is the center of the universe to itself. And that's what the star is about, the sun is about. Like, we are suns, we are the stars. I am a star. I keep on mentioning it, so maybe after I posted 100 videos, people will understand what I mean by I am a star. It's not just my spiritual name, but it's actually what I want to teach. So our spiritual name always is not only our identity, but also the teaching we want to teach to other people. So I am a star, and I want to help you remember that you are a star. We all are stars. And the stars are crystallizations of source consciousness. They are the manifestations, the physical manifestation of the spark of source, basically. The child of the Holy Trinity, where it's the masculine and the feminine, and the unified child, the eternal child of source. So we are the top of the pyramid. We are the all-seeing eye as this human being. Like, it's almost, if you come from pile number 2, a pebble that remembers that the pebble is the mountain, and tuning into that higher perspective of the mountain while still being a pebble, while still being this individual soul, but having the perspective of the universal soul. And that's why, interestingly enough, it was more so related to the human world in this reading. I thought it was going in a different direction, but actually what I'm being told with this is we don't want to focus too much on the higher realms while we're being here, because this is where the focus is. We are magicians here in this present moment, as the eye, as the tree trunk of the cosmic tree. And the only reason why we tune into the higher dimensions from this perspective is to get to know ourselves better. But we don't want to escape. We don't want to meditate all the time or be ungrounded all the time. Or also some people have plant medicine ceremonies all the time, thinking that this is going to help if we open up more and more and more to the other realms. But the other realms are just here to provide us some guidance, just as much as the underworld, like both realms that are either above or below, they're helping us apply ourselves here in this present moment. Because again, there is nothing else than presence. There is nothing else than the I in this present moment. And again, we want to tune into the higher realms in order to, with the owl, it says observe, but since the owl is coming through, it's the energy of know thyself, getting to know ourselves on a deeper level like this, understanding our soul fragments, our soul aspects, and gaining wisdom, gaining a higher perspective, or being able to look at life also from the spiritual lens. So not only the physical lens, because again, we want to be reminded that if we focus only on the physical or only on the spiritual, there is going to be a tower moment to bring the balance back. But every tower that is falling, no matter how painful, no matter how challenging, it is here to help us understand that we are the sun, that we are the star. So even if we have chosen a super challenging path in this lifetime, we always want to remember that we have chosen this so that we could empower ourselves. Like everything happens for our own empowerment, for the empowerment of the soul. But at the same time, knowing that the power was always within us anyway. And that's why while we are doing this empowerment, while we are in the process of awakening, also detaching ourselves a little bit, because it's not a race, or it's not a who ascends more or who is more woke, who is more conscious, who has more wisdom. No, it's about being authentically ourselves, shining the light of our own star in our very unique way. And every person, every star is unique. There are bigger stars, there are smaller stars, there are brighter stars, there are fainter stars. All the stars have different perspectives. But essentially, they're all the same. They all come from source. So when the mountain explodes in all these pebbles, then there are bigger pebbles, smaller pebbles, all different shapes and sizes, but at our core, they all come from the mountain, and that's their essence. And that's the same with us human beings. So what we want to do as pebbles is shining that light as it is, without needing to change anything. And by being that authentic expression of source, we are already fulfilling what we're here to be doing, to be this awakened, empowered light. And the Queen of Scepters is actually about shining our light, but at the same time also helping other people in the process. So it's almost the energy of leading by example, simply embodying that energy authentically. And that's all we can do anyway. Like we cannot help other people accept, like we cannot force anyone to awaken or to heal or to learn anything. Like what we can do is embodying our vibration, being there, and then what other people do with that energy, that's up to them. That's up to their own perspective. They can either be triggered or they can be inspired. They can definitely, it's gonna shift something just by, we just want to embody our authenticity. And that's the most important thing. Like, it's not even about trying to act like someone or trying to make more money than someone else. It's not about comparing ourselves with anyone, but it's about being in our truth, in our authenticity, and shining that light, because this is what we're meant to be doing. We are meant to be unique. We are meant to be different from each other. And now if we grow up in a society where we are almost being taught that we need to dress the same, we need to act the same, and we all need to have the same wishes, that's actually very much disconnecting us to our spiritual truth. Because again, we are meant to be unique. All we need to do basically is to just be ourselves, unapologetically, authentically ourselves. And that's the biggest blessing we can do, not only for ourselves, but also for the whole collective and for the whole universe. Because it's about creating this tower moment for the human collective. And actually the higher realms, they're very much connected with that, and that's why they're coming through to help us. That's why they're here to guide us. There are many angelic beings, spirit guides, extraterrestrial star beings. Like, it has to do with healing the whole cosmos of creation. But definitely we're in for a huge tower moment, and it's very interesting because, yeah, I feel called to share this. Once I asked why my soul chose to come here, like just a random question about tarot cards, and the tower came out, and I was like, seriously? That's like the worst card. But actually it's not, because again, if you come from pile 2, like, imagine the change that we're here to experience. Like, first building up a tower, living in this tower of illusion, but then seeing the tower fall, and then almost opening up to infinite potential, like this complete plot twist. Like, knowing that everything, like, not all, but most of the things, if not everything that we have learned in school is not true, or everything we hear in the media, or everything that we have been taught from an early age on turns out to be an illusion. And then there is this tower fall happening, and you're like, wow, it's like a huge plot twist. It's a huge opportunity for growth. And that's why I say it's such a blessing to be here, because this experience is super unique. And at the same time, whenever we feel challenged, or whenever we feel that it's getting too much or too overwhelming, or when there is too much pain or too many challenges, like, we always want to tune into the energy of our higher selves. Because with the Queen of Cups, I'm really being taken back to this energy of the cosmic ocean. It's the drop that has never been separated from the ocean. And whenever we are too much in our mission, where we think, oh, I'm this little drop and I have to do so many things and I'm overwhelmed and I don't know how to navigate this life, always reconnecting back with the branches of the cosmic tree, reconnecting back with that source ocean of consciousness. And we do that through our heart. So our heart always has the answer, and it is really, it sounds very cliche, but that's the truth. Our heart is the portal between the dimensions. And again, with the magician, we have the ability to tune into the higher and lower dimensions all the time. And that's why all that's required basically in this lifetime is being able to open our heart. And when our heart is open, then we are able to move to this higher dimensional perspective, where we then can in turn tune into our star family, our angels and spirit guides and light beings, and understanding that they are us, that we are never really separated, and it's all one basically. But yeah, super strong reading, powerful messages. I absolutely love this. And I'm gonna stop here, because otherwise I'm gonna continue to talk for hours and hours and hours. But I hope you could see that this is what makes me most passionate. I love talking about these things, and I love bringing in the magic in our day-to-day lives and helping us understand how beautiful we are, how powerful we are. We are the sun, and now is the butterfly moment. We are here to spread our wings again. And always in the knowingness that once we have done this here, once we have found this ultimate empowerment, then after we transition out, we have free space. We can go wherever. We don't need to come back here if this is what we don't want. And I'm just so excited. And I'm very much looking forward. But at the same time, I'm enjoying my time being here. And I live my life to the fullest. So even if we wanted to tune into the energies of the higher realms, of the branches, we have been taken back to the human world. And this is where the focus lies, because what they want to tell us is that everything is here already. It's all in our heart. And that's why the most essential thing we want to aspire in anything, in any realm, is always having this open-heartedness. Because that's the key to all. That's this nurturing, mothering energy, this compassionate, empathic energy. If you are struggling right now, or if you don't know what's next, the next step is opening the heart. And if it's not open already, then expanding it even more, because that's the only way. There is nothing else to go. It's just we flow towards source. It's the raindrop moving back to the ocean. That's the only way. All paths merge into oneness. Beautiful energy. Absolutely lovely. Thank you so much for tuning in. Very interesting reading. I hope you resonated with the messages. Please let me know in the comments if you did. And I'm also offering personal readings, so you'll find all the information in the description box below. And I'm wishing you a very beautiful day, and thank you so much for watching. Many blessings, much love, bye bye.